Just do it.
It's okay.
Oh, yay!
Long ago, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a young princess named Snow White. Her stepmother, the queen, was cruel and vain. She hated anyone whose beauty rivaled her own. And
How do you open this?
she watched her stepdaughter with angry, jealous eyes. And one day she looked out the window and said, "Blow, winds, and crack your cheeks."
Darn right she did. Oh, was that a
Queen had magic powers and owned a wondrous mirror that spoke. Every day she stood before it and asked, "Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And every day the mirror answered, "Would you like to go for a ride on the old Ponderosa?" And the queen would say, "No, but who was the fairest of them all?" The mirror would say, "You are the fairest of all, O queen, the fairest our eyes have ever seen." How come the mirror has multiple eyes? Anybody ask that question?
It's a face. It's got two eyes. All faces have two
He
eyes.
refers to himself like
that's right.
He refers to himself like Gollum. He's like,
We want
Okay,
it.
alright, acceptable. And despite all the hard work, Snow White stayed sweet, gentle, and cheerful. Oh, did I miss one?
look at what you've done.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Man.
I'm lost now. The plot is like,
Right.
wait a second.
And now Rowdy's done.
Sorry, Rowdy. I can do it.
What I think he means.
Yes, Rowdy, come read your part so you can lose your voice. And I don't have to.
Which?
Say
No,
rock
that one.
somewhere.
Just read this
Make
one.
sure it says rock.
She broke all the dishes.
The end.
That was terrible, Rowdy.
Hey, I don't get paid for this stuff.
I don't think anybody
You guys get paid?
The queen had magic powers and owned a wondrous mirror that rocked!
We already read that.
Oh, do we read this one?
It's-
I just
Read
skipped
that.
this one?
You skipped this one.
Alright.
And then again.
Who's bad for the
I have to
mirror?
work at keep up with things, okay? As time passed, Snow White grew more and more beautiful, and the queen grew more and more envious. So she forced the princess to dress in rags and work in the kitchen from dawn to dusk. Despite all the hard work, Snow White stayed sweet, gentle, and cheerful. Day after day, she washed and swept and scrubbed. And day after day, she dreamed of a handsome prince who would come and carry her off to his castle. Who am I missing?
Weepy.
Oh,
Weepy, creepy, and
Creepy
Bob.
first.
No, you have to wait till the
We'll leave Weepy for
And
you.
Bob.
Okay, alright. Weepy it is.
Weepy.
One day, when the queen spoke to her mirror, it replied with the words she had been dreading that would bring her to sheer joy or utter sadness. Joy! Sadness. Fair is thy beauty, Majesty, but hold, a lovely maid I see, one who is more fair than thee, one lips red as a rose, hair black as ebony. I don't know if you can say that nowadays.
Sure you can.
Skin white
Stone.
as snow. Snow White? Shrieked the angry queen. I mean, Snow White! Shrieked the angry queen.
That's not what Emily sounds like.
That's pretty close to what Emily sounded like. She must be destroyed. We're getting close.
Yes.
All right.
I can read that.
Creepy here. Bob? Oh, Bob.
No. This is
No, creepy's this part.
He's,
Yeah.
hey, Colin, the director is always right.
got him. Dab on him.
Stop hurting
Someone
Trent.
dab on Colin.
Someone take his unilom away.
So the queen sent for her huntsman. The huntsman was renowned throughout the kingdom for his very particular set of skills. Take Snow White deep into the forest, she said, and there, my faithful one, kill her. The unhappy man begged the queen to be merciful, but she would not be persuaded. Remember my magic power, she warned. Obey me, or you and your family will suffer. In the deep, dark, and mysterious forest. Get your foot off my box. All right. Bob's the last one we got left.
No, Wordy.
We did Wordy. Wordy was
Wordy
what we
was
started off
first.
You didn't do CSI Dwarves.
CSI Dwarves? I'm not doing CSI Dwarves.
That's creepy.
Oh, the next day you will not believe what happened. Snow White, never suspecting that she was in danger, went off with the huntsman. That guy was hilarious. When they were deep in the woods, the huntsman knocked on the door. You bet he did. And then he drew his knife. Then suddenly, he fell to his knees. I can't kill you, he sobbed. Forgive me, sweet princess. It was the queen who ordered this wicked deed. Colin.
He keeps poking me in the back.
Can you unlock the
One page.
like the
The queen.
No, loud enough so we can all hear it.
The queen! Gasped Snow White. She's mad with jealousy, said the huntsman. She'll stop at nothing to destroy you. Quick, run away, and don't come back alive. Now go! Run, save yourself.
Chloe.
Have you ever watched the movie?
Frightened, Snow White fled through the woods. Tangled branches tore at her clothes. Tangled branches tore at her clothes. Sharp twigs scratched her arms and legs. Strange eyes stared from the shadows. Danger lurked everywhere. Snow White ran on and on.
John.
He's gotta read the prince part.
I love this game.
He's gotta read the prince part.
Oh, we'll have to wait for the... Okay, John, we have to wait for the prince for you. Wait, who did we miss?
What am I doing?
Kristen.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Right there.
Trey should read,
At last, Snow White fell wearily to the ground and began to weep. The gentle animals of the forest gathered around and tried to comfort her. Chirping and chattering, they led her to a tiny cottage. "Oh," said Snow White, "how sweet. It's just like a dollhouse." Oh my.
Emily.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my.
The second page.
But inside, the little tables and chairs were covered with dust, and the sink was filled with dirty dishes. "My," said Snow White, "perhaps the children who lived here are orphans and need someone to take care of them. Let's tidy everything up. Maybe they'll let me stay and keep their house dirty." The animals helped, and soon the place
no.
Watch everything. See and I hear all.
Trey.
They just want to dab so hard.
All right, Trey. Show us your acting lessons. Project.
Meanwhile, the 7 dwarves who lived in the cottage were starting home from the mine where they worked. In the meantime, here's a word from our sponsors. On the way, we will sing "Hi Ho, Hi Ho, It's Off" to the sponsor place we go.
That was so good. You smacked Kristen's face.
Okay, I want to go again.
Nope.
Go Liberty.
Go for Liberty.
Can you get off me? Can you get off?
Yep.
The dwarfs were amazed to find their house so neat and clean. They were even more amazed when they saw Rapunzel's hair. They tiptoed upstairs to see Snow White. I can't.
Like sleeping.
A sleeping girl, said the dwarf called Doc. "She's pretty," said the one named Sneezy. "But she's beautiful," said Dashful. "Ah," said Grumpy. "She's going to be in trouble. Mark my words."
Trinity.
Who's next?
No red.
Okay. Snow White woke up with a start. "Why, you're not children," she said when she saw the dwarves. "You're little men." The dwarves gathered around her. "I read your names on the bed," said Snow White. "Let me guess who you are. You must be Doc, and you must be Bashful, then there's Sneezy and Sleepy and Happy and Dopey and you must be Grumpy.
Miss Crystal.
Where'd she go? Read a page in the book. This
I
page.
need to see the picture.
You obviously didn't
Snow
know
White told the dwarfs of the queen's plan to kill her. They decided she should stay with them. We're asking for trouble, huffed Grumpy. But we can't let her get caught by that wicked queen. Oh,
Wicked Queen. Mm-hmm.
that's right. I mean wicked queen, said Doc. The others all agreed.
Indeed.
Does he really talk like that on Snow White? I do not remember that.
Who's next?
Have you not seen the movie?
I'll hold it for you.
When Snow White told the dwarves of the queen's plan to kill her, Miss Crystal just read that. That night, after supper, they all sang and danced and made merry music. Bashful played the concertina, Happy played taps the drums, Sleepy tooted the horn, Grumpy played the organ, and Dopey didn't know how to sing or play a tune, but he was very, very good at wiggling his ears. Snow White loved her new friends, and she felt safe at last.
Mr. Announcer.
Mr. Announcer? Excuse me?
Top of the page. Yeah.
But the queen had learned from her mirror that Snow White was still alive. This time, she hissed, I'll finish her. With a magic spell, she turned herself into an old peddler woman. She filled a basket with apples, putting a poison apple on top. One bite, she cackled, and Snow White will sleep forever. Then I will be the fairest in the land.
Also known as the apple of my
Die.
This is why we don't let Brother Terry be in place.
Who invited him?
All right, John.
Miss
we're almost to your
Christina.
part here.
What? My part?
Miss
Almost.
Christina.
And
Miss Christina. Thank you.
You can help me.
I might choke her. We're on this page, right? Yeah. Next morning, before they left for the mine, the dwarves warned Snow White to be on her guard. Beware of strangers, said Doc. Right, said Grumpy. Don't let nobody or nothing in the house. Oh, Grumpy, said Snow White. You do care. I'll be careful, I promise. And she high-fived him, not kissed. High-fived him and the others goodbye. And the dwarves went cheerfully off to work, like we all do.
That was my favorite part of the story. You messed it
You came to the kitchen window, making pies. Yeah, it's apple pies. The men love. Taste one of these. She held the poisoned apple out to Snow White. Snow White remembered the dwarfs.
Does
look delicious. She bit the poison apple, then with a sigh, she fell on the floor.
Great job, Trent.
our dear friend, the fairest of them all.
Fairest of them all?
I feel like we missed
Fairest in
something
them all?
between these two.
Page I wrote my name on.
Told by the birds and the animals that something was wrong. The dwarfs raced back to the cottage. They saw the queen sneaking off and they ran after her. As storm clouds gathered and rain began to fall, the dwarves chased the queen up a high rocky mountain. Up they went to the very top, and then, not in front of the kids, but it was too late for Snow White. She was beautiful, She was
Gorgeous. Ever so beautiful. Beautiful as a shooting star.
Okay. So she was beautiful.
even in death, that the dwarves could not bear to part with her. They built her a coffin of glass and gold, and day and night they kept watch over the beloved princess because they also were creepy.
Okay.
All right, John.
Alright.
Projection. It's okay to be loud.
Don't just say it. Okay. One day, a handsome prince came riding through the forest. Good day, peasants. As soon as he saw Snow White, he fell in love with her. Kneeling by her coffin, he kissed her. No, I didn't.
He gave her a kiss.
Yeah, gave her a Hershey's kiss. That's what's up. Snow White sat up, blinked her eyes, and smiled. The prince's kiss had broken the evil spell. As the dwarves danced with joy, the prince carried Snow White off to his castle, where they lived happily ever after.
No. That was not my happy.
You thought.
Great job, everyone.